Hello and welcome to Zelda Speedruns. Today we show you a match of the Link's Awakening Any Percent Glitchless Tournament 2021 on the Switch. We are in loser bracket round 3 and the matchup is OliviaLaDouceur and EDL666. And commentators for this will be Mchan Plays and Meeks. Say hello and take it from here.
Alright, so I am Mchan338 or Mchan Plays, and
I am Sorty Meeks. Good morning, or afternoon, or night. I don't know where anyone's at.
Good morning / afternoon. So we have a pretty exciting matchup here between Olivia and EDL. Two very good runners. EDL is a former world record holder of this category, so that's going to be quite a bit for Olivia to try and match, but Olivia is also a pretty good player. Olivia, as of right now, has the current best time on the physical release of this of the game, which if anyone knows anything about physical and release versions of Switch games, you'll know that digital release tend to have like faster loads, but over the course of the race shouldn't make that much of a big deal. So we'll see what happens from here. I'm pretty excited. Are you excited?
I am excited. I've been wanting to see these two race each other for a while, so
finally get to see it. Actually, what's exciting about this matchup, I'm sure it's pretty exciting for you, is that the winner, whoever wins this match, is going to be up against you in the next round.
Yeah, I'm totally not doing scouting right now.
Okay, so it looks like the race time countdown has already begun, so it looks like the runners are going to be starting as soon as the stream delay catches up with us. So, yeah. Alright, so, I guess, since all this is gonna be, like, beginning stuff, so it's gonna be, like, pretty much basic, what would you like to talk about the category?
Well, I usually like to focus on, like, little minute details in the movement that may not always be apparent, especially with, like, the glitchless category. Little tiny changes in movement can make a big difference in what your time ends up being.
Yeah, this is with any percent glitchless. It's a category where just like in the title, you don't use any glitches at all. So the entire category is focused on just taking advantage of all the basic mechanics that you have, which as a result makes this a pure execution-based category.
Yeah, and especially even this opening part of the game, which lasts about 7 to 8 minutes, it's actually a very heavy reset point for a lot of glitchless runners, because it's early in the run and we've practiced it so many times that we have everything kind of perfected. And if we don't meet that like perfection level, we have at least for me, I have a strong tendency to reset and just kind of start again.
It's a pretty it's like a very deceptively, like, even though it's the beginning, it's actually a deceptively difficult section of the run, because the enemy patterns are very aggressive, and and on top of that, you don't have a lot of equipment to work with, so it's pretty easy to get into critical condition very early on.
Yeah, and there's a fair amount of mob RNG, and sometimes some mobs are just in really bad places, and they will hurt you.
Yeah, exactly. So both runners got their sword, and now they're in the mysterious woods, and they're going to go through this log cave here to obtain the mushroom, which they're going to go all the way to the end of the forest to trade the mushroom for magic powder later on.
Yep. And this is one of these mobs are coming up too here, is this moblins will sometimes be aggressive. Looks like EDL's was on the aggressive side.
Yeah.
But she blocked it good. This cave is also a little bit interesting in that it is the first instance of like non-required kills is what I like to call them. I'm not sure each player's approach towards kill counts in this category, but that is something we pay attention to in Glitchless is which monsters are we killing to set us up for a piece of power manipulation later on.
Yeah, anyone who's not familiar with this game or Link's Awakening in general, there are two power-ups called Piece of Power and Guardian Acorn. With Guardian Acorn, you kill a certain amount of enemies without getting hit, and then Piece of Power is killing about 32 plus however many hearts you have for a Piece of Power to drop. And Guardian Acorn is completely useless; it just raises your defense. Whereas Piece of Power increases your attack power, but also increases your movement speed. And so the movement, the extra power is more important because it allows you to do extra hits to some enemies that take quite a bit to kill. And there is about 2, sometimes 3 places where the extra power is very helpful. The first piece of power drop that these 2 runners are going to get could be either for the Hinox fight in Dungeon 2 or for the Ball and Chain Guard in Cantaloupe Castle. We'll see what the runner's preferences are.
Actually, I haven't explored that one too much with the Hinox and D2. I know some people prefer that. I tend to go for the Ball and Chain myself. But yeah, so the players just went up here to this raccoon Tanuki. I think it's technically Tanuki. Character with a magic powder, who is actually Terran, who is a character in the game that you should play the game because it's a good game. Which allows them to get the key to the first dungeon. Now they're going to have to take a little bit of a detour here because they need to pick up a particular plushie of a friendly face that most people are familiar with. So this is... Oh.
I was about to say, they got the first dungeon key, the tail key, so they're going to be making their way to the first dungeon. But before they do that, they're going to be going back in Maze Village, and they're going to run a couple errands real quick. The first being that they're going to head over here to the trendy game and get the Yoshi doll.
Oh no!
This has happened in almost every race or at least every race that I've commentated. This is all already happened. We can't escape the trendy game. Like, this is unfortunate luck. Oh, this is not good. Oh no! Yeah. So normally in a PB attempt, this is like a reset. But since it's a race, you don't really have that much. Don't really have that option. And EDL is not going to... okay. Yeah, she's resetting the...
She's resetting,
okay.
Which I think is actually the right play in this situation, because the Yoshi doll was in a very awkward place.
Yeah.
But yeah, losing each attempt of
like
this...
20 seconds right there.
Yeah, it's like 20 to 25 seconds. So this will give Olivia a good bit ahead, so we'll have to see if... EDL can catch up over the course of the race.
Oh, and this can sometimes happen. Like, if the prize is not completely on the ground, then it could take a very long time for the guy to say, "Hey, do you want to keep playing again?" That's another luck factor in the trendy game. So Olivia is off to a pretty big lead early on, but I mean, this is still early in the game, so there's still quite a bit of an opportunity for EDL to catch up.
There's still plenty of places where they can swap due to messing up certain performance or movement, I guess.
Yeah,
and,
it's just unfortunate that it just really hurts to lose like 40 seconds right off the bat.
Yeah. It's also really easy to die in this category.
Yeah, it depends on what strats you go for. Then yeah, it can be easy to die.
Yeah, which I think death loses about, is it 30 seconds? 25? I'm not sure.
It depends where, but yeah, sounds like if you just die like right at the spot the game saves at, then yeah, you lose around that time.
Alright, so Olivia is getting into D1, Warm Palest. So you will notice that we are running the game in German. German is the fastest language for this game. Not because it's German itself, but for some reason German is formatted to have less text boxes in this game, so less mashing, less text box to match through.
Yeah. It saves the most amount of time at specific, like especially at the end of every dungeon, because at the end of every dungeon there's like this white text, and in most languages there's like 2 white text boxes as opposed to 1 in German. It's a pretty big save for the dungeons, especially.
So Olivia is using a little bit of a older, slower method for defeating the spine turtles there in that room, although definitely a easier technique. So we'll see if EDL, if she uses the other one, may give us a chance to see some differences in how each runner approaches these rooms.
Yeah, it's one of the things I really like about, especially like watching Zelda races, is is that like runners tend to have different approaches depending on what they're comfortable with. So it's like, if you ever watch like 2 players side by side who are on identical level play, then it's really interesting to see like what different approaches you see runners do.
Yep. Unfortunately, EDL was not successful in the goal of that trick, which is to knock one of those turtles into the hole, but I'm not sure if it's still faster even then. I'm not sure.
The strat that EDL was going to try to go for saves a kill, so that way she can afford to kill a few extra enemies if she needs to for her piece of power routing. Because enemies, it doesn't count as killing the enemy if they fall down a pit, which is what EDL was trying to go for in that spiny room.
I believe both players successfully got the Swordy Super Swing, which is the only thing I've contributed to this game, which saves about 3 frames.
It's a very optimized category. Every little amount counts.
Yep. So both players have picked up an item, by the way, the Rock's Feather, which is basically gives Link a jump button in this game, which is probably the most important item, I think, besides the sword. And
it's
shield.
very, very important. It allows you to jump. It's very important in any video game.
Ooh, Olivia cleared the Rolling Bones mini boss there very quickly.
Yeah. Nice recoil from the spike traps, and then now we're off to a boss that no one ever messes up.
No one ever dies or gets knocked into a hole in this boss. So this looks like a hamburger, but it's actually
the worst kind
Moldorm.
it's the worst kind of hamburger. It's all vegetables, no meat.
Right?
Uh-oh. Okay, this can be scary. Moldorm does 1 hard damage, so if she gets hit again, then she's dead. Okay, very nice. Okay.
Nice. A little bit of a rough fight
that's
there.
deceptively hard. Moldorm moves very erratically, and 2 things can happen. You can either take a bunch of hits from Moldorm, or you can fall. If you fall, then you have to reset the fight. Moldorm gains all of his health back. Olivia's skipping the heart container, even with 1 heart. It's kind of a bold play, but we'll see if that pays off.
We'll see. It kind of surprised me. Most players tend to grab that first heart container, but Maybe she has other plans.
Yeah, probably. So something to note, exclusive to the Switch version of Link's Awakening this game allows you to to skip heart containers if you want, which it saves you a few seconds, but the more hearts you skip, the riskier your run gets later on, because later on in the game you will be encountering enemies that hit pretty hard. So whether or not you skip the heart container throughout each dungeon can be a risk versus reward later on.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's I think most players tend to go for about 5 or 6 heart containers in Glitchless, or at least people who've been playing for a while and are comfortable with that.
Yeah, and
so
sometimes runners will grab heart containers because they'll need that extra health in order to do like damage boost strategies or whatever later on.
Yep. So so we cleared Dungeon 1. So both Olivia and EDL are taking a bit of a detour here. They had to talk to an alligator to give a can of dog food to get some bananas. This game makes perfect sense.
It does.
And now they have to go rescue a chain chomp from a moblin, the Moblin King. So this game, for anyone who's not familiar with this particular Zelda game, and you're like, why are there Mario enemies in a Zelda game? This was actually originally a very early Game Boy game that this is a remake of. And back then, in, what was it, like the early 90s, Nintendo didn't particularly care about, keeping enemies or characters, like, to their own series. And they had a lot of fun with this game. Or like, hey, let's just throw in all, like,
yeah, it's supposed
Mario
to be a remake
characters.
of Link to the Past, or something like that. And then I guess somebody from Nintendo saw this game being made and was like, hey, let's make this a new Zelda game instead.
Oh, Olivia cleared the heart piece of shame.
Yeah, we call that the heart piece of shame. In most categories, you skip that heart piece, and if you pick it up, you lose like 3 seconds, and you get shamed for it.
So this boss is very interesting coming up. There is a very specific timing that you can attack this boss with your sword and get like a 1-cycle kill on it, and we'll see if Olivia is able to do that.
Yeah, it's actually it's a very precise rhythm that you have to get into.
She did not get it. But she should be able to get second cycle, alright.
Yeah.
There she goes.
It's very precise. If you're like slightly off your rhythm, then it's very. Then it can. You just have to opt for the second cycle there.
Yeah. And each runner has kind of their own method. I believe MCham, you use a metronome actually.
Yeah, the metronome app, 140 BPM and / every other beat is my strat for this fight.
Oh, and EDL got it first cycle.
Yeah,
Nice.
very. That's making up a pretty substantial amount of time over Olivia here. So she's definitely not letting the fact that the Chinese game mishap, she's not letting that get to her already, which is always a good thing. Kind of a trap that people and races tend to have is if you make a pretty big mistake, it kind of gets to you.
Yeah, so learning how to control your reactions to that is definitely key when it comes to these sorts of races.
Yeah, because it's like it's not the time loss that happens. It's like how you it's how you handle it. It's like what it's like how it affects your mindset, basically.
Yep.
But anyway, this is the Gapanga Swamp, and they're jumping over all the swamp water because it's faster than just walking through the swamp. And Bow Wow, you need Bow Wow to enter the second dungeon, and how long Bow Wow takes to eat the flowers is random. Most of the time it's not bad, but there are times where Bow Wow takes a long time.
Oh, and Olivia had really good RNG with the Stalfos skeletons there, that opening room. Those skeletons can be all over the place when you enter that room, and ideally you want them close to you and close together to each other so you can kill them with a single spin slash. But sometimes they're not agreeable. EDL's was pretty good too.
Yeah, otherwise it's a very straightforward dungeon. Not really a whole lot to talk about. Unless you're doing a glitch category, then there is stuff to talk about, because anyone who's familiar with Link's Awakening Switch speedruns might know of a very infamous trick called the Hinox Warp, which we don't do in this category.
Glenn in the comments, if we accept the theory that Link sees stuff in Dream World as stuff he's seen before in his life, then canonically Smash Brothers takes place before Link's Awakening. I guess spoilers for like a 20-plus-year-old game. Link is actually like in a dream right now. It was all a dream.
Wow, I've never seen this game before.
Yeah. So Glenn has actually confirmed that in the chronological timeline. Smash Brothers takes place before Link's Awakening. So Olivia had a really good Hinox fight there. That Hinox is very temperamental. It has a rather wonky hitbox and a really nasty grab and throw attack that loses a fair amount of time. So we try to time our slashes and attacks so that we're able to defeat the Hinox without getting grabbed. EDL had an even better fight there, avoided the Hinox moving at
it's
all.
part of the reason why some runners opt to have Piece of Power for Hinox, to avoid that risk of getting grabbed there. It's a free one cycle if you can get Piece of Power to Hinox.
Yeah. And upcoming here in one of the next rooms is the players will be getting the boss key for the dungeon. And you have to kill the mobs in this room in a very specific order, so the Pole's Voice and the Keys, and then the Stalfos. And this is a very RNG heavy run. Stuff does not always like to move where you want it to. Also, the pot that Olivia threw has like a weird hitbox with the blocks around there, and sometimes the pot will just break in midair, and it's rather frustrating.
Yeah, she had a little bit of trouble, but thankfully she did not have to reset the room.
Yeah, and both players taking the push the right block down strategy. Some people push the left block down first.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what enemy pattern you get. Sometimes you just have to just read and react in that room.
Yeah.
So now they're approaching the boss, Genie, which, well, there is not really much to talk about, so,
Personally, I'm a big advocate for allowing Genie Skip into Glitchless category. I know it's a glitch, but this fight is,
it's
a fight.
very unexciting.
So, the first part of the fight, though, is basically an auto-scroller. Familiar with that in various speedrun games. It's basically a part of the game where you just have to survive without like really actually anything that can make the run faster. Basically, you have to dodge 3 sets of 8 fireballs, hit the genie's pot, I guess it's a pot, and smash it against the wall to get to the next phase. But both players are catching up pretty close to each other.
Yeah, they're really close now. This is kind of the knowledge that EDL has. Like, yeah, EDL was originally like 40 seconds behind. Now she's like a few seconds behind.
Yeah.
It's a combination of you know, just being able to nail a few more strats, as well as just a little bit better luck, as Olivia didn't really have the greatest enemy patterns throughout this dungeon, and all that little stuff does tend to add up.
Yes, indeed. So the key to this boss is you're wanting to attack the genie that is furthest away from you, and there's actually an audio cue you can listen to for knowing when the genie's going to pop out of its invulnerable state.
Yeah, and then also the real genie is the one that's furthest away from the center as well.
Yes. So Olivia just this time she got the heart container. So we'll see what EDL does, but yeah, both runners cleared the boss pretty easily. It's not a particularly interesting boss to talk about. It's the boring part of the run, but we're through it now, and we're on to more exciting things.
Yeah, this run starts off kind of slow, but it does eventually pick up after a certain point.
So, coming up, the players will, in general, be heading towards Cantaloupe Castle after doing a couple errands here, and that will be where we potentially start seeing some payoff for piece of power counting if the players have decided to go for that for the ball and chain. But for now, we need to drop off Bow Wow, who I wish we could carry through the game. I'm assuming Bow Wow would probably like help speed things up. But...
yeah, but when you talk to Richard later on, he will not let you do the side quests until you return Bow Wow. So first off, the runners you saw them pick up a rock seemingly for no reason, but it's actually to activate that warp portal that you just saw on EDL's screen, and there's a lot more warp portals in this game over the Game Boy version. And they take advantage of warps, because there's a lot of warps, and warping is very powerful in this version compared to the Game Boy version.
Yeah, something we take a lot of advantage over.
Alright, let's go shopping here. Alright, so we're gonna
shoplifting.
Olivia's gonna be buying bombs here. She's gonna be buying 30 bombs. And then oh wait, what are you doing? It's 200 rupees. You don't have 200 rupees. What are you doing? You just left with it. You stole it. How could you?
Thief!
Go back!
Thief.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Oh wait. Oh, he's not happy. Wait.
No.
Oh no, she died!
Oh no. That's like a 30-second time loss now.
Oh no. Okay, but conveniently, the shopkeeper lets you keep the item, otherwise this would be, like, completely useless. And so then she steals the bow, which is 980 rupees. We don't have 980 rupees, so this just allows us to save, like, 1,000 rupees later on in the run.
In about 1,000 hours, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a building mechanic with this game, is you can steal stuff from the shop, with only the downside of the shopkeeper killing you, and everyone calls you thief afterwards instead of the name you picked in your file name. But it is the faster way of obtaining those items that we need and are critical for the run. So there they got another. Olivia just got another warp point. And now she's going to give some bananas that we got from the alligator to Kiki the monkey, who will now build a bridge.
Yeah, this is the point where you realize that the trade quest is actually required. So anyone who thought that they could skip the trade quest is gonna get pretty stuck here.
Yep. And Link will now invest in the stock market because he now has a stock. Which is apparently the German word for stick. But yeah, so now we'll be entering Cantaloupe Castle. So this place is a death trap. It is exceedingly easy to die in this dungeon. All of the monsters are particularly fast and aggressive. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to kind of get like stuck in a corner with one of them just like beating you down. So you notice Olivia did a nice bomb arrow there. This is actually the first Zelda game where bomb arrows existed.
Yes.
I believe it was technically a glitch in the original, wasn't it?
Something about that, and then because like in later updates of the Game Boy version, they made the timing window for bomb arrows a lot harder. I guess still possible, but like harder to time. It's I guess just some oversight that they left behind, which is great because it comes back in Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild. But yeah, if you put bomb and arrows at the same time, then you get this really cool effect that you see right here. And a lot of the times we use bomb arrows to substitute for just regular bombs, because when you use a regular bomb, you have to wait for the bomb to explode. With bomb arrows, they just blow up instantly, so you save like a few seconds whenever you need to.
Yep. And I like Olivia's strategy for grabbing that third golden leaf. So you'll notice too, but both players got the piece of power. So they're counting mob kills throughout the run so far has paid off. The primary payoff for piece of power in this dungeon is getting a faster kill on this ball and chain boss here, who's actually a rather scary boss. He can kill you pretty quickly.
Piece of power ran out. Okay.
Oh
so
no!
There's gonna be a bit of a few extra cycles. Not too bad though. If you don't have piece of power, then this fight can sometimes be scary. You could take a lot of hits. But meanwhile, you can see on EDL, man, that was fast right there.
Yep. She plowed right through the night there. So yeah, that's a big advantage. Normally, piece of power doesn't particularly save too much time, like if you're just walking, which is why we generally don't go for it in those contexts. But if you're going against a more powerful opponent who's vulnerable to sword slashes, it tends to be a good thing to pick up. Olivia not opting to kill those Darknet Knights there. Which is also kind of scary.
Yeah, those guys can get in your way sometimes while you're trying to deal with that bomb guy by the 5 pits. Yeah, they got the 5 golden leaves. You might be thinking, what's the purpose of that? Well, that's the side quest that Richard wants you to do. The story behind this is Richard left behind his 5 golden leaves, which are very precious to him, but he can't do it by himself for some reason, so he asked us to do it instead. We got the 5 golden leaves. So we just activate the side quest now. We already got the 5 golden leaves, so we talked to him again, and now he's going to let us into his backyard, which is it's puddle field. It's full of pits. I don't know how he can garden in his backyard with so many pits.
He's got the frogs to help him or something. I don't know.
I don't get it.
That's why he can't go on the quest too. You know, he has to take care of his frogs. They're very needy frogs. But yeah, maneuvering through this, through the holes in the bushes here is always... That's actually one of my favorite parts of the game. It's just, I don't know, it's just fun.
Yeah. And then you're gonna see all these, and then you're gonna see both these players jump over all these patches of grass because he just moves so slow in the grass fields.
So Olivia did not fall through the map on those stairs, so that's good. EDL hasn't either. I had it happen to me once in a run where I just randomly fell through the map there on those stairs. So
really?
Yeah.
I did not know such a thing exists.
Yeah, I don't know how or why it happened. It was very random. But,
okay.
But when you play a game like hundreds of times over and over again, sometimes weird things just happen, and you're like, oh, okay.
This is a pretty broken game, and this is, yeah. Link's Awakening Switch is pretty broken in its own way.
Yeah.
But here we are in Key Cavern, and Key Cavern is a pretty very difficult dungeon to optimize. The second room coming up here for EDL is very annoying, as we have these bombies as well as that Stalfos right there, and you could lose quite a lot of time in that room alone.
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely one of the two of the more precise dungeons. I would say it's like a particularly difficult dungeon, but if you're not paying attention, you can end up losing time in like various little odd ways. This room coming up here soon has a bunch of those little red Zol and gel enemies that will latch onto you and slow you down, and you just have to like kind of be aware of stuff like that.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Okay.
Ooh,
Let's see how she recovers. Okay, nice. Yeah, those guys can sometimes block the part they're supposed to bomb the wall, and they blow up. They bomb that wall later. Now because it saves a menu later on. But here's the Dodongo snakes, and I think EDL actually pulled the lead by a slim bit right now.
Ooh. Well, that work paying off. So yeah, the Dodongo snakes, not much to say. They will move 4 times before they'll open their mouth again. They can also do backflips, which looks kind of cool.
It looks really funny, but yeah, you can't just in LADX you can cheese this fight, but you can't really do that. If you place a bomb too early, then they're gonna say no. And also in the Game Boy version, there was a glitch with the Dodongo snakes where if you kill one of them, leave, and come back, then both of them are dead. But that doesn't work in this version, so they have to defeat both of them.
Yep. Alright, so we just got probably one of the other most important pieces of equipment in the game, the Pegasus Boots. So now the game is fast. And we get a lot more new strategies. Oh, Olivia opting for a bomb arrow in that room. So arrows are extremely important in Glitchless. There's not a lot of payoff right now, but later in the game it saves a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a very precise arrow counting, and you can actually see EDL actually had a better approach in that room, a little bit better luck with those bombies. So now EDL has a very slight lead over Olivia. But it has half a heart, so this is going to be kind of a scary situation. She can get a heart from this enemy right here. Oh, okay, she foregoing that heart, which could be scary. Oh my god, okay.
EDL.
Okay. Please get these carts. Please.
EDL.
This is, no. Oh my god. The mad runner here. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe what I'm seeing right here.
She's getting revenge.
The next upcoming enemy can drop a heart. Okay, so didn't. But one thing that the way drops work in this game is that if you have low health, then enemies in grass have a likelier chance at dropping hearts. So while she's in low HP, she can very easily get more hearts if she kills another enemy. Like probably very likely some of these. Still foregoing. Okay. Finally getting a heart there, yeah, man. Putting us on the edge here, playing with our emotions.
Oh goodness.
Okay, but this is a kind of a. Let's see how she approaches. Okay, yeah. So the Garden Acorn was unfortunately in her way, so she couldn't even make the optimal line there. So let's see. Olivia had a very slight lead, but took a bonk there, unfortunately. But now they're going to be using all the keys that they collected and then complete the rest of the dungeon.
That was a fun segment. EDL getting revenge on me for doing so many things in this game at half a heart.
Sometimes you just gotta take those risks, and it can be kind of scary. But here we are against Slimei, or Gigazol in this language, and the way this fight works is you want to hit the eyeball, and it's going to split into 2, and you want to be able to defeat the 2 pretty quickly. Otherwise, they're going to be jumping, and if they land on the ground, then they're going to stun you. So they're going to jump right as soon as, right before these guys land on the ground like this, and there we go. It's a pretty nice fight for EDL. Olivia having a little bit of trouble here with this fight. Okay, there we go.
You got it.
Not too bad. If you mess up this fight, it can be very bad, but not too bad for Olivia's end. And with that, EDL's now in the lead.
Yep. Oh, and Olivia has decided to get the heart container. She may have missed that one in D1 there, but nice.
Yeah, so you could get a 6 heart container later on. It kind of just it depends on like the situation. It kind of depends on a bunch of circumstances later on the run, but I mean it's pretty likely that EDL is going to run with 5 hearts, but we'll see. Anyway, they are now done with the dungeon, and this is where the rest of the run gets a little bit faster pace here. And you're gonna notice that the way that the exit this dungeon is different than you might like if you've played this game casually, and that is that they're actually done with the trading quest. So you might be thinking, how are they gonna beat the game? Well, you're gonna see in a little bit, or well, at the very end of the game, how they're gonna beat the game.
Yep. Normally you have to complete the trading sequence and get the magnifying glass to read a book in the library. Ooh, and Olivia had a bonk there.
And EDL got knocked into the water there as she was going through that grotto.
Oh goodness. That's everyone's getting hit by everything. That's one thing that makes Glitchless like interesting. That you don't always like notice it if you're not like familiar with the run, but there are lots of little things like falling into water or bonking on a wall that take, seconds over the course of a run, and over, about an hour and 45-minute long run. Those things add up, and you can lose several minutes if you're not, careful with, what you're hitting or running into. But, So EDL has just entered the Dream Shrine, and I guess it's Inception now.
Yeah, it's a dream instead of a dream.
Hopefully, she doesn't get caught in some multi-level lucid dreaming state where she'll never enter the real world again. But and here we get the Ocarina. Which existed before the Ocarina of Time, since this game came out first. So Ocarina of Time is not original, it ripped off from this game. And we will continue on. So this is definitely like the longest... I think this is the longest like overworld part of the game, where we are having to pick up several things.
One of the longest stretch without doing a dungeon. At least in this category, if you run, I guess maybe 100%, then there's actually even a longer section that you do without a dungeon. But yeah, they get the Ocarina. It is required to beat the game. If there was a way to skip the Ocarina, it would not be worth it, because one of the songs that we get later on is just so powerful that it just wouldn't really be worth skipping it. So now we're on a date. Did you know that these seagulls flying around are completely random every time?
I did not know that. They do just kind of like stay in place though, like they never move forward.
It's RNG. It's very important. This RNG is very important in the run.
Yes, this sets up. This is how we determine if we've manipulated the RNG correctly to, set up the mobs in every single dungeon for the rest of the run. There is like actually a important what would you call it? It's not a skip, but a thing you have to do correctly in this cutscene is to say yes to Marin, or in German, to let her know that you actually have been listening to her and not just completely ignoring her talking to you. Yeah. Otherwise, she will repeat everything, and that's kind of slow for a speedrun.
She wishes to be a seagull, but because we died, her wish doesn't come true.
Oof. Yeah, we kind of also destroy the entire island at the end of the game, but
we're pretty brutal people.
But for now, we're going to sing to a walrus who is sleeping at the edge of the animal village and a desert, which I don't know why those are adjacent.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I guess again, this game was like kind of originally meant to be a Game Boy remake of Link to the Past. So you kind of like notice like it kind of goes for like similar like themes. Like there's the desert area.
Yeah, and then there's Landmola here coming up.
Yeah, so this fight could be a potentially big time loss. EDL
So
trying to go
close.
for the one cycle.
That's okay. She can finish it off with a spin slash. There we go. Yeah, you can one cycle this fight, but that depends on RNG. Sometimes you just don't get the short hop at all. Or sometimes you just don't get the one cycle because Landmola can do a short hop, which automatically cuts you out of the one cycle. Let's see what Olivia has. Oh, also very close, man. This is a very hard. This is deceptively difficult.
Yeah, you're trying to make precise shots, and then you're also constantly fighting against that quicksand that wants to pull you into that pit.
Yeah, and if you fall down, then you have to reset the fight, just like Moldorm. So it's a not a very fun fight at all.
All right, and EDL is getting the first song of the game though.
Yeah, this is the Ballad of the Windfish, but yeah, Landmola is still easier than Landmola in Link to the Past, though, no matter how hard this fight is.
I have not ran Link to the Past, so I will take your word for it.
Imagine 3 of them coming at you.
Oh, yeah, no thank you.
But yeah, this is the first out of 3 songs that they're going to be getting in the game. This one's the most important because you need the song to beat the game.
I always got frustrated in Majora's Mask because there is a Ballad of the Windfish in Majora's Mask, but it is not this Ballad of the Windfish, and that always frustrated me.
Yeah. I actually played that game. I completed that game for my first time recently.
Nice. That's a pretty nice game. A little bit sad, but nice.
Alright, so there's 2 different routes. Let's see which route we're going to be seeing. Okay, so we're going to be seeing kind of a recent strategy found by the Lime Films 1, where where you can take the approach from Seashell Mansion and go through Cantaloupe Castle in order to get to the Angler keyhole a little bit quicker than what we used to do. This requires a really precise jump. Okay, didn't get the first try. This only saves like a couple seconds over the other route. Okay, gets it the second time. And we're also seeing Olivia doing the same thing here. This is, man, this is not something I would recommend doing in a race at all. But these two players, they're just going big. Gets it first try, saving a couple seconds over EDL.
Nice. I'm actually unfamiliar with that strat. I will have to learn about that.
Yeah, it's so. And the issue with this is Olivia made that look really easy, but as you saw from EDL's end, it's a very difficult dash jump, and you're committed to this route if you decide to go for it. So it's kind of the risk that you take, and it doesn't save that much time. Alright, so EDL is now in what we call the obstacle cave, because in LADX there's a trick that everybody likes to hype up called obstacle skip. Thankfully that doesn't work in this game, because I am the minority and don't like that trick. You just jump over this obstacle that EDL just ran over, but that's it. And it saves like a quarter second.
You save like a second.
You save a quarter of a second. It's not worth it.
Totally worth it.
But thankfully both these runners did remember to open up the dungeon. It's a very common mistake that everybody makes every once in a while, and you lose a lot of time if you realize it at the very end that you forget to open up the dungeon. But here we are in Anglia Tunnel. In very early days of speedrunning this game, this dungeon was very unexciting, but thankfully with the bomb jump that these runners are going to go for, this dungeon's actually much more exciting. You skip about half the dungeon with this trick.
So the upcoming bomb jump, it looks like a glitch. It is not a glitch, according to
What are they doing? This is
community.
glitchless.
And our excuse is that it is technically physics, which technically it is physics. Just the way the game works with explosions and jumping, we're not, doing anything unintentional with the physics. We're not like glitching out of bounds, but as EDL just showed you there, yeah, you're just positioning the bomb in a way where when you do that dash jump, it explodes at the right time to propel you over to the other ledge.
Yeah, basically, the way we define out of bounds is as long as Link is not on objects that you're not supposed to go on by normal means of gameplay, then it's allowed. And in that instance right there, it's the bomb that's out of bounds and not Link.
Yep. And Olivia got it first try, too.
Yeah, first try bomb jump is always a good thing, because if you have trouble with the bomb jump, then your health can be in a very bad situation, as well as potentially your bomb count as well, as explosives do 2 hours of damage, and then also if you're low on bombs, that's a pretty bad thing.
Olivia taking an interesting strategy there with cue ball, but did EDL forget to fight the boss and get the instrument in this dungeon? That's a little weird.
Yeah, I wonder what's up with that. Okay, so the reason they're doing this is because if you beat the dungeon, then there's a ghost that will follow you. You gotta take it to its grave, or you gotta take it to his house and then back to his grave, and it takes like 3 minutes, and you can't do any dungeon at all. And so by going back to Dungeon 4 later, then they don't have to do the ghost quests. In the original version, you can skip the ghost quest entirely by just completing Dungeon 6, by getting the level 2 bracelet from Dungeon 6, but they took that check away in this version, which I guess is because you would be screwed out of 100% if you can't do the ghost quests.
Yep, and they have just gotten Mambo's Mambo.
Yeah,
there's a Mambo Mambo. I forget how it.
Mambo's Mambo.
Mambo's Mambo.
Mambo.
Mambo. I don't know. Which is the warping song, which is actually rather important. We will be using that a number of times.
Yeah, so in this version, you can warp to any warp point that you want using this song. Otherwise, in the original version, you whenever you use Mambo's Mambo, then you warp to Mambo's Pond, which is right by Crazy Tracy's hut by the forest. So this is a huge quality of life in this version, which is what makes... if we were able to skip the Ocarina at all, then it wouldn't really be worth it, just due to how good the song is. So we're seeing 2 different routes here. Olivia is actually going straight to Dungeon 5. There's actually no difference in time between these 2 routes. It's just that, you can route in Piece of Power, depending on what your kill count is, you can route in Piece of Power easier doing this way. And then also, the reason EDL does this route is because if you choose to go to Armos Maze after Dungeon 5, then there will be a rabbit in your way, on your way. Which could be slower if you don't really know how to handle that. But like I said, these 2 routes are very identical in time.
Yeah. We'll see how EDL... So this, I'll focus on EDL here for a second. This Armos fight boss is very annoying even on a casual level. The hitbox is very large, much larger than the model.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to just get hit by it or mess up your spin slashes. The EDL took care of it really quickly there. It also got the quick kill, I believe. With shooting 2 arrows there at the end. Definitely one of the trickier fights, but I believe she will be entering D5 now, and Olivia will be doing the Southern Shrine there after D5.
Yeah, and so for anyone who's just tuning into the stream, it does look like Olivia is in the lead, but she does have to go back to later on after this dungeon in order to go do what EDL just did, which is to fight Armos Knight. And like I said, it's they're around the same amount of time, so...
Yeah.
Alright, so this is Master Stalfos. So in this dungeon, Mastostophos has stolen the item here, which is the hook shot, and we have to go around this whole dungeon in order to chase Mastostophos down. Yep, he shows up in order of the rooms. You can see that there's a 1 blue light there, and you'll be seeing later rooms with like 2, 3, and 4 representing the order of the Mastostophos fights. Because you can't just go to the rooms that Mastostophos will appear in, as he only appears in order.
Oh.
He takes 3 bombs to defeat each time, so every way that you fight Mastostophos is always the same. Unlike in the original, where it takes like 3 bombs on the first and 4th time, and 2 bombs on the 2nd and 3rd. And it also, you can use bomb arrows, but not in this version, or at least not as effectively in this version.
All right.
Yeah, so Dungeon 5, in my opinion, is like my least favorite dungeon in this game. There's a lot of little things in this dungeon that adds up to significantly losing time. A lot of these enemy patterns are random, and you can see some of these enemies here not giving Olivia a good time.
Yeah, very easy to get hit and take a lot of time loss here. This is also the biggest payoff for doing kill counting on monsters and getting the piece of power. So both players will hopefully have counted enemies correctly. So by the time they get to the boss of this dungeon, they're able to get a piece of power. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that as well. This opening room with the 4 bats and the I forget what those
Helmosaurs
enemies with the mask are called. Helmosaurs. That room is annoying. Sometimes the Helmosaur is just in the wrong spot.
Yeah, you can it's especially frustrating the Game Boy version because you have to deal with that room 2 times because like in this version you're dealing with once is fine because the door is safe. The door is saved whenever once you clear that room once, which is a nice quality of life in this version. But even then, that room in particular can be pretty frustrating.
For sure.
So Olivia now finally got the hook shot, and
she resisted doing hookshot rocket, which is good.
That's another trick that skips a pretty large part of the dungeon.
Yeah, I always have the urge to just do that trick in that final fight, even though it's glitchless. So yeah, Olivia is going for the boss key now. So we end up reloading this dungeon 3-4 times.
3 times, yeah.
Yeah, which is we just kind of go back to the start every time and go to a different part of the dungeon. It's a rather I don't know, disjointed, unconnected dungeon.
Yeah. Also, Mambo's Mambo can warp you back to the beginning of the dungeon, but you're not going to be seeing any of these runners do that because it's faster to auto-load instead.
Yeah.
Now, in the original version, there was a trick called the dumb jump in this room because you just do a very precise dash jump to jump over that pit, but they made that pit wider in this version, so they had to get the hook shot this time around. So now that they got the boss key, they're going to go ahead and go through the rest of the dungeon. You can see Olivia's just killing a few extra enemies to make sure to keep track of her kill count. I don't really know what her kill count is. I'm not really super familiar with this particular kill route that Olivia's doing, but I think Olivia should be fine.
Yeah, I think each player kind of has their own approach to dealing with the kill count. It's one of those tricky things where you're just trying to find the method that works for you. But yep, she got the piece of power.
Not only does she have to keep this piece of power, but also get this next trick pretty fast enough in order to actually keep it to the very end. So this is called skewing, where if you jump, if you change your angle mid-jump, then you actually you're facing in a direction that's outside of your 8 directions that you would normally move at. And it allows you to skip a key. So again, that looks really weird, but it's just abusing the feather mechanics there.
Yeah.
So this is one of the parts where Piece of Power, or this is the big part where Piece of Power pays off. Slimei takes 16 hits to defeat, but with Piece of Power you can do more damage to him. And this is really good right here.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There we go. That is a 1 cycle. So not only do you have to have Piece of Power, but you also have to be lucky with this position for Slimei to give you the 1 cycle right there, and it saves a substantial amount of time. EDL also getting Piece of Power right there, so she will also have it for Slimei, assuming that she can get up there fast enough. That's really good right there. Sometimes it's hard to get that skew hook shot really quickly, depending on like your angle positioning. But yeah. So this is the part where you're gonna see EDL kind of catch up a bit because she has already done what Olivia's about to do, which is to go to Sudden's shrine to get her face key. So we'll see. I imagine EDL's probably still in the lead technically. But we'll see.
I believe so. Hopefully she gets good RNG here. Otherwise, she may not be. Okay. This is kind of middling RNG.
Yeah,
you can still 1 cycle on this pattern, but it's hard.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so as you can see right there, that rabbit would not be in the way, which is the reason why EDL went to go to the Face Shrine next. Well, it could also... it could also factor in that, you want to try to have an easier kill route, but yeah. So I guess we didn't really talk about Armos Maze that much, but Armos Maze, there are these Armos statues, disguised as statues, and they do 2 hearts of damage. It's pretty scary sometimes, especially with 5 hearts. But,
yeah, you're trying to get like close enough that you're moving fast, but not so close that you get smashed in the face by.
Yeah, and that part right there where you're just in between 2 Armos statues that you can activate.
Also, please notice that the Armos statue shields are Lego bricks, and you can never unsee that.
Actually, pretty cool. Alright, so as you can see now, EDL's suddenly in the lead because she's already done what Olivia's already doing.
Yeah. And this island here is, I hate this island. Sometimes that
Bomb
fairy will just be mean and throw bombs at you while you're trying to stun the 2 heart damage.
Oh, Olivia having a little bit of trouble starting off the fight. Okay, there we go. Very nice. Didn't go too offhand.
Yeah, she recovered pretty quickly there.
Yeah, and Armos Knight's hurt if you get hit by him. So, and it especially is pretty bad if you get stun lock inside the Armos Knight's hitbox.
Ooh, and EDL entering day 6 at a sub 1 hour, which is very good.
Yeah, that's really good. She's on a pretty she's on a really good run outside of her unfortunate start.
Excellent. So this is part of the run where our arrow count gets really low. We need to try to, at least when we enter D6, ideally have 2 arrows, which EDL has had 3. I'm not sure where Olivia's count is at. Because we have to manage it. So D6 is kind of known as probably the hardest dungeon in some regards.
It's the hardest dungeon to optimize for sure. It's the longest, it's the longest dungeon in the game, which gives a ton of opportunity to either save or lose time. It's one of those dungeons where you can kind of have a really good dungeon segment or a really bad one, and not really too much of an in between. Just due to how much opportunity you have in this dungeon to have all that happen. Yeah, in my opinion, I'd say that this is, as far as optimization goes, this is probably just as hard as D5 in difficulty optimization.
Yeah. There are 2 mini bosses and the boss in this dungeon, and one of them you can just lose a lot of time outright, that we'll see very shortly here. Another mini-boss is very RNG heavy, and then the boss itself is rather RNG heavy. So this room is interesting. There's 2 patterns that EDL is in.
Very nice.
there's two patterns that anti-fairy can take, either moving right or left. Technically, if it moves right, that's faster. If it moves to left, there's a couple of different strats there that you can take. One is faster and one is slower. EDL went for the slower one, but it's also the more consistent and easier.
Much safer, yeah.
Much safer. Which is probably the right choice for a race to go for. The annoying tile room where you just have to kind of wait for the the tiles to do their thing.
Yeah, not really much you can do to speed it up. And then let's see if she gets this. This is actually really hard.
Oh, she didn't get it.
Oh, barely. Dang. Yeah. So if you enter the very left side of the door frame and then have very precise movement going, then you can just barely beat Smasher to get the ball before he does. But oh man, it's so precise.
Ooh, Olivia's having some trouble there in that anti-fairy room, but she got through it. Nice.
Okay, very nice wizard room for EDL right there. That is actually, that can sometimes be kind of tough, but got through that just fine.
Yeah, the wizard room is easy if everything goes right. If it doesn't, and you'll have noticed that EDL swapped to Marin's song. And her item selection there, which you may think, like, why would you ever switch to that song for a reason? But there is a reason for that, which you will see.
Okay, based on Olivia's position, she's not. Yeah. If you're not left on the door frame, then you won't get the ball unless you have piece of power because you move faster. But yeah.
You know, going through another little tile room here. You just have to... at some point you do this room enough times that, you know, or at least for me, I've gotten to the point where I'm a bit faster than the tiles, and it's like, sometimes I'm just having to sit there and wait on the tiles to start moving. It's just like... So this room is annoying. These chess pieces...
We're hoping for first try here.
Yeah... These chess pieces just kind of have mind of
Oh
their
my
own.
god, she did it! Wow. That's a 25% chance of getting it first try. Okay, just kidding.
Fortunately, we actually have it down to 100% now.
Yeah, there's actual strategy in this version.
Yeah, it is not random. Positioning is important though.
Yeah.
So EDL just killed all those Pulse voices with Marin Song, which is a reference to the original Legend of Zelda game, I believe. But hey, we got the Dongo Snakes again.
Yeah, and this time this one's harder because you have less space to move around on, and so it makes trying to get in front of these bombs annoying if these guys are like really close together.
Yeah, sometimes positioning can just be absolutely atrocious with them, and there's not much you can do about it.
That was a pretty good fight for EDL there. Balanced up hit a little bit, but that at least it didn't go too offhand.
Let's see. Oh, and EDL successfully.
Hey, did you know
dodged
you
the
can break pots or you can open a chest with pots?
Really? Sadly, it's just that one, I think.
Yeah, this is the only one.
So EDL has the boss key now.
Mm-hmm. And she's gonna be going straight to the boss now, which is well, it's very. It can be it could be very scary or just really hard.
Yeah, the boss has a fair amount of RNG. And so, whoa, EDL going for some swag on that eyeball. So I've not seen that before. That eye thing. I have to keep that in mind that you can actually kill that.
Yeah, you can. It's just that if you get sucked in and you get taken back to the beginning of the dungeon.
I don't think it actually takes you to the beginning of this version. I'm not sure.
In this version? Oh, I'm not sure then. If that's the case, then I'm not sure. But anyway, here's this really long name that I don't know how to pronounce, but here we go.
This is facade in English.
Yeah.
And ideally, so the first 3 cycles damage that you do to facade, it stays in like the same area and is predictable. So we just use like regular bombs.
Yeah.
But these last,
This is looking really good, right? Oh no! Okay.
Ooh,
That's
she recovered.
Okay, yeah, very nice. Yeah. The longer you keep facade up, then the harder this fight gets. So that's a very nice recovery for EDL there.
EDL opting for Feather and Mambo's Mambo here.
I'm not sure if that's a mistake or not. I imagine it's a mistake.
It is not actually. So each, there is some players who prefer to go through this next part of the game with Feather instead of Hookshot. Although she will probably switch to Hookshot after she warps here. So it ends up being a little bit of a time loss from the item swapping, but for some players it's just a lot easier and faster for them to go through the sign maze with the items that they're more comfortable with. We'll see how that plays out. I'm not sure what Olivia's
Let's watch
preference
Olivia
is.
here. Okay, just needs one more.
Oh no!
Oh, that's crazy. Oh man.
Ooh.
All right.
This should
Hopefully,
work, bro.
yeah. This should
She's
work.
confident.
Okay, very nice, very nice. Yeah, that is unfortunately what happens if you let the sod alive long enough in the fight.
Yeah. Definitely gets hard. So yeah, Olivia opting for the hook shot here. You can see how EDL is using a combination of hookshot and feather and signpost maze here, so she's more comfortable with that setup. Signpost maze is actually surprisingly like difficult for speedrunning, because it's just very easy to get hit by mobs or pick up boulders by accident or just bonk onto something.
Yeah, and then it can also be kind of frustrating in like sometimes like if you read the same signpost twice or read the wrong sign by accident, then you could then you have to reset the whole thing and you lose like a minute.
Yeah, it can be really annoying. But we now get what is objectively the best song in the game.
Oh yeah, the best song. It's so good that they remix this song.
Also, if you have ever been curious what happened to Wart after Super Mario Bros. 2 US version, he decided to take up a career in music inside the dream of the Windfish. And seems to be doing pretty good there until Link destroys the island. After that, I have no idea. We finally got the Frog Song of Soul, I believe, is the title of it.
Yep.
I just call it the Necromancy song. And yeah, so EDL, I actually haven't seen this strat too much. But some people will also opt to actually like physically leave.
Yeah, it's kind of a recent thing that was talked about in the glitch community of this game, where when they were talking about a modeless route, and this is what EDL's doing. Supposedly, It's supposed to be just barely faster, but I'm not too sure about that. It's still a new thing.
Yeah. Something I should probably play around with. For me, I'm like, eh.
Yeah,
I don't want to move that much. I'll just bonk into something.
So this is what the Frog Song of Soul is used for. They're gonna get the rooster here, and the rooster is used for like one thing, and now they're gonna be going back to they're gonna go back to the obstacle cave, and they're gonna be going through the part where you would do obstacle skip again, which if you've gotten it the first time in the original version, then you can get it again, and you save a grand total of half a second. Not worth it.
Those half seconds add up, though.
But this would be the part where, if you're familiar with Link's Awakening, then you would know that there used to be a very notorious trick called Rooster Skip, but since they have the rooster, then they're not going to be doing that. Which makes getting the rooster key, or at least the eagle key, like, much easier.
Yeah, and in glitch categories, we actually really want the rooster as early as possible in the game, because the rooster is
it's so powerful in the glitch categories.
Yeah, but here we just want good old. I refer to the rooster as Knuckles.
Knuckles.
Knuckles. Shout out to the Sonic Boom video game, which gives you a hint of how broken the rooster is.
This is the part where I shame on the runners here. I can't believe this.
So EDL opted for a safer strat there of flying through that room with the rooster. However, you can do a precise dash jump in that room to clear those pits and then hook shot across. But EDL decided to take the safer route, which...
Yeah, you could fall, which if you fall down, then you get sent back outside of the cave, and you have to make the climb again.
Yeah, so you can lose a lot of time there if you do miss that jump.
But now that she got the the eagle key, she can make her way to Dungeon 7. In glitch categories, you do a glitch that will take you to Dungeon 8 instead. But there's like in this category, there's no way around that at all.
Yeah.
And this is just a bunch of climbing. Not really a whole lot to say. EDL has kind of been extending her lead over Olivia since Dungeon 6. With Olivia having a bit more unfortunate things in her Dungeon 6 segments. Dungeon 6 is very difficult, but I mean it's still not the end of things, as the next two dungeons are still somewhat difficult in their own way. But we'll see what happens. Link's Awakening races, nothing's over till it's over.
For sure. There's so many places, even right up to the end.
Okay, so we can see Olivia taking the faster approach in that section of the cave there. And like Meeks said, that can sometimes be risky because you can fall down while doing those jumps around the rocks.
Here's D7, which is, I think, one of the more fun dungeons.
If you're a casual player, then you hate this dungeon.
Yeah. Oh, EDL going for some cool jump dashing there. Instead of using a hook shot. There's a couple ways to get through that previous room. You can also use the hook shot as well. I definitely is a good example of seeing how EDL is able to use a lot of different methods through getting through the game in very similar times as other methods. There's actually a fair amount of variety that can be achieved in this run. So EDL just got the cannonball, which is a crucial item that we carry through D7 to destroy these big giant pillars throughout the dungeon. Definitely one of the more unique dungeons because of that. So we have to kind of babysit this cannonball throughout the dungeon, and we also have to be careful because we don't want to let it fall down a pit and reset back to its beginning position, because that can lose a fair amount of time.
And this is a very unique dungeon. It's a 4-floor dungeon. We're trying to make it a 3-floor dungeon. To a lot of To a lot of casual players, this type of dungeon concept is like very, very different compared to the dungeons that they've encountered in this game so far, and it's very frustrating to go through sometimes. There's a lot of optional rooms, but since we're speedrunners, we know the fastest way through the dungeons. It's not really so much of an issue, but going through this part of the dungeon is not too big of an issue. It's just trying to be careful not to fall down or have the ball fall down. Throwing the ball around there, that way when she comes back to that room, she can grab the ball from there.
Ooh, kind of got hit by that gibbed over there. It's actually interesting, some of the strats that EDL's taken here to save arrows as well in this run. So we're definitely getting to the part of the run where arrows are becoming more and more important, because the boss of this dungeon, which we won't fight yet, goes a lot faster the more arrows you have.
Yeah, but wait, hold on. Coming up is the hardest boss in the game.
Oh no, I'm sweating a bit here.
We're hoping for good luck here.
I don't know, this pattern's tough. She got it!
Oh my god, she got it! How does she do it? What a legend.
So, that fight's actually extremely easy. You can literally beat it with your eyes closed. You just have to position yourself in a good spot and just smash the sword button, and you're good. You win.
Also, minor time save that you saw from Olivia. If you defeat the last tile, then the door opens early.
Yeah. Trying to destroy that tile. So this room, I hate this room with a passion.
This room's called Three Oaks, or Three of a Kind.
Oh, really good RNG there.
Yeah, that was very good.
Yeah, sometimes those enemies can just be scattered across the whole room, and it's just annoying.
They can even sometimes get in your way, too.
Yeah. They can block you when you go to throw the ball, and you have to, like, shield it to, like, get it out of your way. It's very annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But EDL is wrapping up the first part of this dungeon, so she's going to smash this final pillar and send the top part of the dungeon into the third floor, which shoutouts to the people who built this stone structure and it not completely collapsing from from destroying, you know, key cornerstone pillars.
Alright, so coming up is the next thing that looks really strange in a glitchless run. You can see there she was supposed to fall down, but she didn't. If you just fall down from the left side of that ledge and hold down, then you don't fall through, which saves having to climb back the mountain up all the way again.
Which we also do not consider a glitch. This is a fun part of the run where you get to do a good bit of dashing and using the hook shot. Fortunately, it's a short part of the run, but I always enjoy it a good bit.
It's worth noting that the reason that she left the Dungeon 7 is because if you beat the dungeon, then Marin will actually appear on that part that EDL just passed, which loses a minute.
Ooh, Olivia had a good 3 of a kind there, too.
Yeah, and the ball was kind of stuck on the top of the fence there for a little bit.
Ooh, a little scary.
Alright, so this part here sucks. These boulders that fall down are random. When you're climbing up, these can knock you down like that, and you could also just die for no reason just because of that, but thankfully, not too big of an issue for EDL.
Oh. Bombing this wall here, which I have died to that bomb a number of times.
oh no. Alright, so this is where we got... So, with the mirror shield that we just obtained from the dungeon, this is where the mirror shield is used for. You use the mirror shield to block those flames from coming through. And now here we are to the entrance of Turtle Rock. and this is where we're going to be using the other place we're going to be using the Frog Song of Soul. And this will wake up this statue thing, and this is the Turok boss. In the original version, you just walk right through him, skipping the fight entirely, but you have to fight him this time.
Which is actually a rather fun fight. It's also a bit of a scary fight. If it hits you, you take 2 hearts of damage. And you just came through a section of the game where you could take a bunch of damage from those boulders, and yeah, stuff can just be really, really bad. But EDL took care of it very quickly.
And if you know where your kill count is in this part of the run, it's not that important, but you could have Piece of Power in this fight, and it actually saves a substantial amount of time.
Ooh, EDL taking care of fire there really quickly.
Because it's not that important, some people don't really try to keep track of their kills up to this point of the run. So this is Turok. Just like Dungeon 7, very complicated if you're a casual player, but it's because there's a lot of rooms. This dungeon's supposed to be like a mini boss gauntlet. Olivia getting Piece of Power there, but that's really far from not gonna be able to have Piece of Power for Turok, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's a little bit too far away, and also especially just getting knocked over by those boulders. So both runners getting knocked down at least once, and yeah, but like I said, this dungeon's supposed to be a mini-boss gauntlet. Like, almost every mini-boss, except for Master Stalfos and Goma, all return in this dungeon. But we only fight, like, 3 mini-bosses.
Alright. And EDL is making it through this section here. You have to very quickly swap between arrows and bomb arrows.
Yeah.
I always tend to miss menu there pretty easily.
Menuing's really fun when you can actually do them in this dungeon, but then when you mess up, you just feel pretty bad about yourself. This is really scary for Olivia here. Only half a heart. He has to be very careful.
Come on, Olivia.
Meanwhile, EDL is going around to get more arrows because he is pretty low on arrows right now.
Yeah, so generally in Glitchless,
I don't know how many hits. I think it's almost done.
Come on. Yay, she got it.
There we go. Please get the fairy though.
Please, Olivia. Oh, thank goodness.
Okay, there we go. Oh man, and then the bird.
Oh. But yeah, in Glitchless we opt for getting those 2 different arrow pickups in D8. So ideally, EDL should have a good solid 10 arrows for the eagle fight, which is very good. So here's Blano, the friendly punching penguin, who's not actually a penguin but looks like one. And EDL took care of it very quickly.
Yeah, blocking some of her attacks, but no problem.
Yeah, that Blano fight, if you perform it, quickly from the outset, it's fairly simple. But it's also very easy to kind of mess up your timing on Blano and just lose a lot of time there, or even potentially die. Because Blano does a lot of damage.
What can sometimes happen in that fight is he has this attack where if you get hit by it, then in the original version you get sent back to the beginning of the dungeon. But in this version, not so much. I think it's the beginning of the room.
I think it's the beginning of the room.
Okay, yeah.
Slow. This Hinox, for some reason, is actually weaker than the one in D2, and you can just kind of take care of it very quickly there with the dash boots. When you hit something when you're dashing with your sword, it actually does double damage, I believe it is, from the normal sword slash. So we're able to deal basically 6 hearts of damage there to the Hinox very quickly. We'll get to see. It looks like Olivia will probably have about...
She'll be at 24.
Yeah, she'll have about 8 arrows for Evil Eagle coming up, which is about the minimum you want, if you can help it.
Yeah. And if you don't have that, and if you don't have enough arrows, it's not that big of a deal. It's just you just lose time at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
Conveniently, in LADX, it's a very big deal. So this is Cue Ball, round 2. Easier than Dungeon 4 Cue Ball, but also still hard if you mess up. Okay, that's really good. Very good fight for EDL.
Yep, perfect. It's it's one of those bosses where if you do everything right, it's very quick and, you know, I won't use the word easy, but, you know, it's very clean.
You have to be really good at aiming your arrows.
But, yeah, otherwise, if it starts running around the room and you can't get, you know, your arrow shots lined up, it can get pretty bad pretty quickly.
Yeah, so in this room, there's around like 27 different combinations to go about, and they're all around the same time, and you just saw one way. You're probably gonna likely see a different way for Olivia, so, yeah.
I just always go with the pattern I used when I was a kid when I played DX.
Alright, it's time to fight the boss.
Yeah, so Hothead is very, it's a boss.
Out of all the bosses that they had to make worse in this version, they had to make this one pretty worse.
Also, shouts to the Magic Rod, which has been horribly nerfed in this version, unfortunately.
It's so bad.
We really want to use it as little as possible, unfortunately.
Yeah, the thing with it is that you could kind of mash the Magic Rod in the original version, and it also does a lot of damage, but that's not really so much the case in here. You have to kind of... EDL's doing a pretty good job. That was really good. One cycle in the first phase.
Well, this is
okay.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man. Okay.
That's still a really good fight.
Yeah, that's really good. If you can get a one cycle in the first phase, and that's actually it's really good.
Yeah, there's just like a lot of RNG with that boss, and sometimes the positioning is just bad.
Yeah, RNG as well as trying to precisely aim your Magic Rod shots at Hothead.
She took care of it quickly and got the Octopus Trommel, which is objectively the best instrument name in the German translation.
Okay, Olivia fighting Cue Ball. Okay, got her 5 arrows in, and then 5 arrows and a slash takes care of Cue Ball. Very nice.
Very good.
So now EDL is going to go back to Dungeon 7 to complete the rest of the dungeon. She's already done pretty much all the dungeons, so all she has to do is just go straight to the boss. And you can see a different combination of the Roomba Room here for Olivia. That's kind of a basic way. I like to go for that because that's my muscle memory from the original version.
Kind of nice that we can, you know, still bring over some of our patterns from playing this game like a long time ago, or casually.
Yeah.
So clearing out some Goombas here. So EDL is almost to Evil Eagle, which is one of the more unique boss fights, I think, just because it's one of 2 boss fights that happens on a 2D plane instead of 3D.
Yeah, and there's a lot of RNG in this fight. The way this fight works is Evil Eagle does 5 different attacks. The first attack is always the same, where he goes through a middle swoop. So so Evil Eagle does 3 different swoops: a low swoop, a middle swoop, and a high swoop, as well as a dive and a gust attack. You don't want to see the gust attack at all of all the attacks.
Ooh, EDL got 4 arrows there, so that's good.
That's really good. 6 arrows in already. Goes for the slash.
Ooh, there's a gust.
That's a gust right there. You can cancel the gust by going down the ladder like that.
And done. Very nice fight. That's you know, fairly
you can
close
lose
to
a lot of time in this fight.
Yep.
Even though it didn't look like it for EDL, but yeah, you can lose quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and that's where having those arrows are so important. Without those arrows, you're ending up just having to wait evil to either swoop at you or fly by low enough that you can hit it. And you can use Magic Rod in that fight, but it does a very low amount of damage, and it's just generally
it's
slow.
so bad.
It's so bad. So getting those arrows. It's also important with that fight too to make sure that you try not to go below 11 arrows if you can help it. It isn't like critical, I guess, but it does impact the speed of the rest of the run, which we're starting to wind down on now. We're moving on to
so Olivia is running out of time to catch up with EDL. Yeah, also something to note with that cave is if you're low on hearts coming out of Dungeon 7, then you could get that heart piece, and it is a little bit faster than getting the heart container from Dungeon 7, but since, well, EDL's in really good shape right now, she does not need that.
Oh, so upcoming here in D4, there is a puzzle here that normally you have to go elsewhere in the dungeon after you get the flippers to see what the solution to this puzzle is. But we'll see how EDL. Oh, she seems to know what the puzzle solution is from the start.
Is she cheating?
I think she might be really cheating.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So what both these runners did that you guys didn't really see in the beginning of the race is they manipulated their RNG seed by starting the game at a very specific second, and it manipulates the puzzle here. Without RNG manipulation, it's still not that bad because there's actually like 4 different puzzles for the puzzle room. And so if you know what all 4 puzzles are, then it's a 25% chance of getting the puzzle right.
EDL got the EDL jump there. First try.
that jump's really hard. But here we are against what used to be the hardest boss in the game, but they made it harder.
Blubber,
in
blubber.
The original version... In the original version, you can just go to a specific spot and just mash your sword, but this time you actually have to try in this fight.
Yeah. And it's actually a rather deceptive fight, because like it's an easy fight, but when you are trying to go fast, it can actually cause a fair amount of difficulty.
Yeah, and after enough hits here, you can see that there's rocks falling down. The rocks can get in your way while you're trying to charge up your spin attack, as well as little fish. But EDL got a pretty good fight right there.
Yeah, very nice.
So, looking at EDL's timer, I think she's on pace for some kind of 140, which is, for missing Trinity Game twice, this is actually a really good time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Olivia making her way to, back to Dungeon 4, you might see a different Dungeon 4 puzzle. Runners tend to use different seeds when they are going through this dungeon.
So, EDL does have to be careful here and make sure that she warps to Dape's hut and not anywhere else on the map, because then the ghost will show up.
Yeah, so she has now completed Dungeon 4, which means that she does have a chance for the ghost to show up if you go to the second half of the map.
Yeah. I think if you move like south of like basically here, the ghost will show up.
Yeah.
Which is an uncommon way to, mess up your run, but it can happen.
Take your hand off the control stick.
I mean, I may have ended a run once.
Oh no, you did? Oh
yes.
God. Oh man. All right, so traditional to any Link's Awakening commentaries, we will listen to what's known as the national anthem.
Apparently EDL streams is not on EDL's audio.
Oh, it's...
So unfortunately we won't be able to hear.
Okay, well,
we just had a
got to hear some boss music.
It's alright. Well, you would have heard, you know, the best, like, well, I guess second best song sequence in the game, next to, I would say, the end credits, but,
Fortunately, like, this part right here is, like, a nice, like, minute break to kind of, like, if you're on a really good run, to kind of ease yourself up, but it's also, at the same time, kind of a curse, because that's, like, a minute to think about how you're gonna mess up this final fight. But anyway, again, just like Dungeon 4, the EDL knows exactly what the puzzle is due to RNG manipulation, which is why she's able to know this without having to complete the rest of the trading quest. Also, a side effect of not doing the trading quest, of not completing the trading quest, is the dungeon is the egg is dark and not lit up. But here's Nightmare. Nightmare comes in 6 phases, and there's a lot less tricks in this version, so it's a little bit more straightforward than the original version, but there's still quite some things to talk about. So the first phase is the blob phase, which all you do is sprinkle magic powder. The next phase is the Aghanim phase, which you might recognize from A Link to the Past. And for that phase, it takes around 4 hits to beat him. The first shot is always an energy shot. Every other shot is a 50-50 between an energy shot and a blue ball. However, Aghanim cannot do more than 3. Cannot do the same attack more than 3 times in a row. So, assuming you don't miss a single energy shot, the worst you can get is 9 blue balls in this phase.
Which fortunately is very rare, and EDL got the best RNG there.
Was that 1?
As 1 blue ball.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, next one is Moldorm. Has a pretty wonky hitbox, which is why you can see EDL's attacking the head right there. And then up next is Ganon. 2 spin slashes and a dash.
And she got the quick kill on Ganon.
A little bit scary because every attack does 1 heart of damage and she's at 2 hearts. And then finally is Moldorm. Or not Moldorm, Landmola, which takes 4 spin slashes. And then the final phase is Nightmare. 10 arrows. You can only shoot 2 arrows per cycle. If you're really good, then you can get a 3rd arrow in, but most runners don't really go for that.
I've never even seen the 3 arrow happen. EDL tried it though.
Yeah, I've gotten it a few times, and if you're really lucky, then you could save a cycle, but that's not something that you can count on. Most runners usually don't have enough arrows to go for 3 cycles, so
EDL
or 3 arrows per cycle.
EDL deciding to scare us there a bit and take a heart of damage.
Oh my god, these jumps are not hard, but you can. But it's like, but the hitbox of those arms are very deceptive. So
EDL decided to give us a little panic there with that final phase, but she got through it, and I believe she is the winner of the race.
EDL's our winner. Congrats to EDL666, and she has a race time of 1:40.27.
Nice. Olivia's coming up right behind with her Nightmare fight.
Yeah.
So still a very close race, really. Definitely got to see a good example there of EDL catching up from a pretty significant time loss at the start. I guess we'll see if she's...
Yeah, I'm sure she has something to say about that. Alright, so let's see how Olivia's Aghanim luck is here. A minor time save that you could do on the Aghanim phase is you can recoil Aghanim close to the middle as possible in order to minimize the amount of time Aghanim moves. Which is what you're seeing some people do here. Not getting 2 blue ball, that second blue ball right there. Yeah, you can see these runners are jumping whenever they're attacking, and that's so like if they get a blue ball potentially, then they can avoid it.
Yeah. Actually, I think personally I feel it's actually easier than doing it casually.
Yeah. If you're doing doing this fight in 100%, most runners usually don't try to avoid the blue balls because you just have so much health.
Ooh, Olivia got the Ganon quick kill there too. Nice.
Yeah, that's actually harder than they make it look. If you mess up one bit, which is really easy to do, then that fight can go pretty badly.
See how...
She has exactly 10 arrows, so she's almost likely not going to go for the 3 arrows. If you run out of arrows, then you can actually use the magic rod, but it does significantly less damage than the arrows.
Yeah.
Okay, here's EDL. Let me move her. Wait, I can't move her. I cannot move her. Okay, here we go. Alright, hello EDL.
Did you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Alright.
I hear you now.
How are you feeling with that run?
I mean, really good, considering that was third try Yoshi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay with that.
What was going through you when you missed the Yoshi doll twice there?
Well, the first time I was just like, oh, well, that's just normal. My average
Okay.
my average for Yoshi is literally missing it once.
Uh-huh. But then, what was going through you when you missed it the second time and had to reload the trendy game?
Yeah, when I saw the way that it fell, and I was like, okay, do I just leave now and retry with a reset, or do I go for it? And I just went for it, and then it didn't grab it, and I was like, nah, okay, we're gonna reset. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, that definitely did put you pretty far behind. That definitely did put you very far behind early on, but you did manage to make up a substantial amount of time as the race kept going, you know, you really did a good job at really not letting it get over you when you made that mistake early on, and then everything else in your run was, you know, you definitely played played solidly throughout the rest of the run.
Yeah, I think my last no reset was just before the race was 139.40. I usually get 140s and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But my PB is really close. My PB is so close. It's just waiting for me to not mess up something.
Yeah.
I don't think I even need the good RNG. Like, I just need to not mess up anything.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough category to grind out at a pretty high level. So, I mean, you'll get. I believe you'll definitely get there.
For sure.
I want to rewatch the thing. I'm curious.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting for sure. Like you guys going into Dungeon 3, like you guys were practically synced up at some parts of D3, and it was pretty exciting to see.
Yeah, it's a very close race overall.
And seeing like the slowly the lead kind of changing hands, and then it changing back and forth a bit because it's like really close.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff I really like to see.
Were you aware of were you watching the restream to gauge like where Olivia was throughout the race, or were you just focusing on your own?
No, I mean I didn't answer my own chat, so no.
Okay.
I was the last race of the tournament. I got 8 try Yoshi, and then my mental went into the trash. So I was just focusing on my mental more than anything, and trying to, make sure that I was into the game and not into anything else.
Yeah, that's definitely like some runners usually like in preference in during tournament races, they choose to just like shut everything out and just focusing on their gameplay, and then if they win, then they win. And yeah, it's and then there are also some people who like prefer to kind of know where their opponent is, and don't really mind it as much. But yeah, it's definitely like I like I've had like years of tournament experience and know what it's like to like have it get over you, like when things like that happens.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I haven't had that much experience, but I know what it is. I definitely know what it is. I've had it a couple times already. Like, just like that the opponent is just like it's just a really good, and if you mess up too much, it's very likely that you're never gonna come back. Mm-hmm. And then the pressure of that is just like is very overwhelming. It's the strength that it needs mentally to just stay focused and continue to do your best, because you don't know if you're not gonna make a mistake or anything like that. Because they have the same pressure. It's the same thing usually. Like it's a mutual pressure.
Seems like Olivia is having mic issues. Olivia, can you talk?
Yes, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. You're a little bit quiet though, but yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, then it seems it's like 4 times or 5 times in a row I don't get my sub 43. It's always the same. Something's wrong, Oh my god, it's so different when you have to make a race of tournament like this. But thanks a lot to everyone, and congrats to EDL, because it seems she has failed twice in the Yoshidol, and she has done a fucking great time. It wasn't just for me possible to get this time, but it's like now 1 week I try to get my sub 43. I was so close this time. I get 2 blue balls. It's really always the same, but I'm pretty sure I'm getting it maybe tomorrow, or maybe next week. I've done really a nice race, I think.
I believe in you, Olivia, for sure. Like I had the same thing today. Like I was going into the egg, my run today before the race. I was going into the egg, and I was literally tied with my PB. It was all down to, like, is the RNG of the final boss gonna be on my side?
Yeah, it really sucks when you go into the nightmare fight and you notice that you're about to cut your time close, and then you're just praying that nightmare goes in your favor, and when nightmare does not, then it just feels really bad.
Eventually, like eventually it'll get there.
Yeah, you just never know, especially like with this game. But
oh no, you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that still a PB for you, Olivia? Or
I'm just no, my new PB is 140.04, and I think it's 143.04, and now it's 143.10 or 11. But actually, I get a really bad beginning. I don't know. I wanted to make a sort of surprise when I don't take the art container on the first dungeon, just to make the people, oh my god, is he really serious?
Yeah,
we definitely took notice of that.
It was really nice. It was really nice, and I'm going to carry on for sub 43. There are though not really big mistakes. I think I get really a solid run, except I don't know why, as a mask dungeon, something were really garbage. The boss, the wizard room, I didn't know why, and also the dragon, because I get my pieces of power. I believe my just 1 slash would kill the bird, and actually he survived, and I wasn't allowed to do my normal strat against the dragon, because I was only alpha art, but it's really close now. I get bomb jump first try. I'm pretty sure I can get my sub 43, and yes.
Yeah, definitely. I believe you'll get there eventually. So all things considered, how do you feel about your run in this race, Olivia?
Actually, my run was. There are plenty of things that were really great. Actually, since the Anglia Tower until the end, nothing was really wrong. All was great. My AB legal was great. My last boss was great. The fish was great. The D7 dungeon was okay. The boxer was okay, but not just only the dragon. Just the end was really for me solid. But the beginning wasn't. I don't know why because we're so nervous. We're so nervous, but I'm sure. I'm really proud of my run. I'm just 5 seconds of my PBs. That is to say, I've done all the potential. I was able to do the same. It wasn't. It's not possible for me in any way to reach the semi if I play like a god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. You definitely played really well. It's just it's just like with the level that EDL plays on, there was only like I guess so much you could do about it. But I'm happy to hear that you were at least able to pull off a run that you could be happy with in this race.
You say that, but like I said, I got 8 try Yoshi on my previous race, so
Yeah.
I got what was it, 146? That wasn't very good. So sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes I believe I don't get very good
Sometimes you just gotta be like it could be like opponent luck or something like that. I guess you could call it, where like the opponent that you're facing could have like an off day or some sort.
I hope it was a very good race to watch.
Yeah, that was very good to watch. Yeah.
And not a lot of, as I said, not a lot of big mistakes. It was really great execution for me. As far as I'm concerned, I think I can't realize how to make sub 141 with Yoshidol twice fail. It's absolutely unbelievable. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I can't answer that question, unfortunately. Like I said, it's just I'm so close. I have, like, I think my sub best is like 137 something, but like I keep just falling short. I keep getting 140s, and then sometimes I get 139s, but it's never quite PB material, except today where, well, the RNG just didn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, I clearly have wiggle room because I can do these sick comebacks, and my sub best says so as well. It's just, I don't know where that wiggle room is though. Like that's the I'm having a hard time pointing the finger at it.
Yeah.
You'll get there eventually here.
So Olivia, since you're out of the tournament now, what's going to be your plan for the future? Now, are you going to continue? Do you have plans to continue with this category? Do a different category? What's going to be the plan?
Just to say, I think I try tomorrow to make a last stream day to get my sub 43 because I'm pretty sure it's just not doing it's only 7-8 seconds. It's absolutely nothing. And then I'm going to try tomorrow one last stream. And for the future, I think I'm going to speedrun other Zelda games because I don't play only Awakening. I play also A Link to the Past, Skyward Sword. I get really great PBs. Yesterday I get PBs on Awakening, Glitchless, and on the same time I get also a PB on A Link to the Past 100%. I was really happy, and I get more and more viewers, more and more people. It's really great for me, and I will carry on to stream Zelda games and to make people happy.
That
Okay.
sounds great.
Yeah, I'm really A Link to the Past is definitely exciting. I was I come from A Link to the Past background, and A Link to the Past is really fun. It's really fun to watch. So it'll be exciting to watch you play Link to the Past again. Yeah, so EDL, your dream match is coming true.
Yes.
You get to go against Meeks in the next round. A question to both you and Meeks. What are you guys' thoughts going into this upcoming race for you guys?
I'm just really happy. I've been wanting to race Meeks in a tournament since the first tournament. But Meeks didn't want to pitch in for the first tournament. And then for this tournament, when I saw that she was signing up, I was like, am I going to get the opportunity to do the tournament race or not? Because it needs to line up. But it seems like it's lining up. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Now, EDL, I need you to miss Yoshidol a few times, because otherwise I don't think I'm going to win. But nah, I gotta buckle down and practice up really good, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Like, I've seen you run Glitchless, and I know that you're very, very, very good. It's just your mental and the nerves, and keep it like buckled down. I'm sure you can do a fantastic time. Obviously, like I have my own nerves issues, especially for the tournament. So it is very possible that I mess up enough that you can totally take it. I believe that it is possible.
Yeah, you can. You can never really be fully prepared, especially like for tournament races, because like with tournament races, like all the pressure right there. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see the race between you two eventually, and then the winner between you two gets to go against TGH. So even bigger incentive for the matchup to be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Meeks go against TGH. I'm not sure if Meeks feels the same. I would absolutely be. I would be happy to have another shot at TGH myself, but I don't think I've seen Meeks run against TGH yet, so I would be happy to see that as well.
Yeah. Well,
either way, I think there's gonna be some really cool stuff happening.
For now, I'll focus on the race in front of me, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. All right then. I guess that's it. That's all we have to say.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for a great race.
Oh yeah, GG.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Yeah, GG to both EDL and Olivia. Thank you, Olivia, for participating in the tournament, and EDL and Meeks, good luck on you guys' matchup.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, everyone.
So again, thank you to both of our runners, EDL and OliviaLaDouceur. OliviaLaDouceur. Still wrong arrow. But also thank you to our commentators, Emchon Plays and Meeks. And next up here on ZSR, we have at 4 PM Eastern the Wind Waker Randomizer bi-weekly tournament race in about 30 minutes. At 5:30 PM Eastern, we have a Breath of the Wild any percent tournament match, as well as 7:30 PM Eastern. Both are best of threes. At 6 PM Eastern, we have the Ocarina of Time Randomizer Standard NA Weekly going on. And then for tomorrow, we only have our weeklies, the Ocarina of Time Randomizer EU Weekly at 2 PM Eastern, 3:30 Eastern, the Minish Cap Randomizer Weekly, and at 2 PM Eastern, another Breath of the Wild any percent match. Any final thoughts?
Thanks everyone.
Sounds amazing.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed the race. And once again, congrats to both EDL and Olivia on the race.
GG.
Yeah. Then thank you very much for watching, and see you next time here on ZSR.